This is Twit. So we thought we'd talk to you a little bit about Google I/O. Google I/O, of course, is next week. I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to be there, right?
I'm absolutely going to be there.
I'll see you there.
Roaming the halls, which aren't actually halls. It's basically like you're going to an outdoor concert for 3 days.
Laser.
It's
the halls.
Yes. it's a cool experience going to Shoreline and doing Google I/O.
It's kind of weird. Make sure you bring a sunscreen, right?
Yeah. Well, and they usually even give you sunscreen while you're there.
Yeah, but last year they didn't, and they didn't give us sunglasses either. The way I know this is because I always wear their sunglasses, and then I ran out, and I was like, "Where's my I/O sunglasses?" And they didn't give me one. So.
Yeah. Plus, you got to be careful of that sunscreen. You don't know what's in it. It might be like secretly tracking your location or something.
I haven't even thought about that.
Nanobots.
You're talking about the future right now, Megan. That's frightening. Here, put on the sunscreen.
I just made that up, by the way.
I might just stay home next week.
Well, I hope that you're there. I hope to run into you at Google I/O. What if you had to pick one thing that you're really looking forward to at Google I/O? I mean,
I'm kind of a hardware person, so I love hardware only enable ecosystems and software and apps, right? But I love the idea that we're going to get a mid-range Pixel.
Yeah, and we know this for certain at this point.
Well,
it's like 99% certain. They've said as much in their earnings call.
Yes, it's hard because even PR is being saying different things to different people right now, which is come on, guys. We know, we've seen the leaks. They pretty much admitted that on their earnings call, right? As you said. Look, it's not official, but there's a really high probability we're going to see two Pixels that are mid-range phones, priced as such, which, U.S. pricing, you have to understand, mid-range phones in the rest of the world are much cheaper than even these phones would be. Mm-hmm. But we're going to look at two Pixels that basically bring the Pixel experience to a lower price point, to a more affordable price point, which I think is really exciting.
And more affordable right now. The rumors, although we don't have any confirmation, but the rumors are saying somewhere in the $400 range for the 3A and the $479 for the 3A XL. So firmly in that mid-range price category.
I'll be honest, at that price point, I expect the camera to be an exact copy of what we have on the Pixel 3 and 3 XL.
Yeah.
We might get lesser materials, maybe plastic back instead of glass. Mm-hmm. We might see a headphone jack though. That might be cool.
Okay.
I don't know. There were rumors about that. Yep. And then we might see a lesser processor. It doesn't look like the RAM's going to change much because 4 is pretty much the bottom that you can handle. In fact, a Pixel 3 XL, which I have here on, is pretty low, honestly. 4 gigs
for current
is
flagship,
not acceptable anymore. I think for a mid-range, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then, of course, displays at 1080p, which make a lot of sense. There are some flagships like the P30 Pro from Huawei that are 1080p, so that's not a big deal. And then some 600, 700 series Snapdragon. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking 600, 660 is the new one. Maybe the 730 they just announced, because maybe for the higher end one, because that's almost an 8. Basically, the 710 was an 845 detuned, and the 730 is an 855 detuned, and we're talking 90% of the performance,
right?
Which is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
But at 400, it's hard, right? It's a lot of money still, and I would have loved it to be 300, and then I'd be happy with 600 series Snapdragon. But at 400, I'm almost expecting them to have at least the same camera and even a 700 series processor. If you look at the competition of what you can get for $300, you can get a Pocophone F1 for $300. Mm-hmm.
But who's ever heard of a Pocophone?
The bottom line is it's available with a warranty in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, it's Snapdragon 845, and it's great. It's got a good camera. Yeah. So it's a tough one. You're kind of paying for the Google brand and the Pixel brand at this point, and I'm not sure that's something you can pay for. Mm-hmm. And, I had a big rant on my podcast this week about this, about how the Pixel 3X, the 3 series, the XL and the regular 3, are a little long in the tooth now 6 months later. And that's usually the case. But I feel like it's really long in the tooth this year when you see what OnePlus is coming out with soon, and when you see what Huawei's done and Samsung's done, and even LG, even though the G8 is not spectacular, it's a really good phone, and you're going to say they're all new phones, but the reality is these phones are designed to last a year. It's odd to me that Google didn't put 6 gigs of RAM on the XL, that they really didn't push the design and the premiumness of look and feel, because that's really where people are fighting in the high end. And maybe that's why we're going to get a mid-range phone, is because they don't want to fight in the high end. It's not profitable for them. It's obviously not profitable for a lot of people, as we saw from everybody's earnings.
Yes.
But I still think that you know, in the same way as you see an Audi R8 and you do end up buying an Audi A4, you need that halo. You need that flagship device. And that's why I'm hoping there's a Pixel 4 that... I'm actually hoping this lets them go nuts with a Pixel 4. I want to see a $1,000 Google phone that, you know, has nothing's held back. Triple camera on the rear. Like, this is where we're at for flagships. And I'm sick and tired of seeing, you know, Google kind of pull back, kind of like Appling the whole thing, Apple-ing, because Apple is basically doing that. They're like, this is just an interface into our world. It's just, forget about the hardware. Leave your body behind. This is about your soul and your mind. No, I want a freaking phone that feels like a freaking phone. That's the flagship. And so I'm having a lot of struggles as a Pixel daily user with this. Like, so I'm very excited about the 3A and 3A XL because I think if they exist at a reasonable price point and hit the sweet spot, now everybody can have a Pixel, and I can maybe have a better Pixel in the fall, like a really nice Pixel, like $1,000 Pixel.
This would be your Pixel before the next Pixel. Well, look, it's like stepping stones for you because I feel like you have a new phone every week.
The $1,000 list is not really going to be $1,000. We know that. Like, so I'm saying, like, right now, for what the Pixel, full-on Pixels that were launched 6 months ago cost, I expect a lot more than what I got. And so for them to justify continuing making flagships at $850, $900 next year, in the fall in October for the 4, we're going to have to see something that is much cheaper. And that's why I think they came out with this, or they're coming out with this.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you think this might be for people switching from iOS, like people who had
No
iPhones?
way, not a chance in the world. I mean, look, the reality is Apple people they're not going to move.
Well, I know people who have moved and they either moved to Samsung or the Pixel. Right. And there's no, I mean, is there a mid-range Samsung phone?
Yes. But the 10SE to me is right now $600.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's more than
like
the 400 we're talking about, but there's no contest. This is a full-on flagship you're getting. And it's also a super small phone. It is smaller physically than the Pixel 3. And I think for the money, it's probably the best flagship you can buy right now. And I'm not a Samsung person.
The 10E, the 10 series is really great.
The S10e is hard to beat at this point.
Right.
And it's continuing to go down in price because, you know, that's what happens. The other one's the LG G8, even though it's not, the reviews were, I wrote a review on geekspin.co. You can read it. That's where also the phones we're talking about next are reviewed by me. And that phone is... If it drops in price a little more than it is, it went from $700 to $650 and might now be down to $600 soon. I'd say the G8 is just up there with the S10e. Why would you bother buying a Pixel other than the software updates and the camera? At that point, if they can bring the software updates and the camera for $400, then the 3A makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But don't buy a Pixel 3 right now is what I'm saying. Don't.
Does the A stand for anything? 3A? No.
Accessible?
Yeah, maybe they'll make the case for that at Google
How about
I/O, but
a shot, and a shot across the bow?
Yeah.
Available?
Okay.
Wow.
I wonder if teenagers might be interested. I wonder if this might be a phone.
Too high. It's too high.
Well, teenagers have iPhones that are.
Well, I mean, look, there's two worlds here. The reality is this: is if you look at U.S. Average customer, I don't even think that phone makes sense, the 3A. Because first of all, how many people are going to switch to a Pixel? Number one, unless the marketing is really strong behind it, but so far Google has never shown that.
Yeah.
Number two, people just walk in a carrier store and they're not afraid of adding $20 a month to their plan to get an actual $1,000 flagship. We've seen this on and on and on. This is how the US works. So the teenagers, they all have flagships. Why would they go? So now if they are on price conscious and they're buying an unlocked phone full price, they're not going to spend $400. They're going to spend $200 on the phone I'm going to talk about next. And that makes sense. But I don't know, 400 is still kind of like 500 buys you OnePlus 6T. You forget the fact that the 7 is coming. 6T, $500.
Fantastic phone.
I'd take that over Pixel 3A any day of the week, frankly. I mean, it's better in every way, in every measurable way, maybe except the camera.
Yeah, but there are of course the Google brand devotees that want those updates.
But I'm kind of reevaluating my life right now.
I understand.
I'm having an existential crisis because I've been a Nexus and Pixel user forever, and I'm really getting sick and tired. Like, I have now a phone that I can't talk about in my pocket that makes me realize that, maybe I need to switch away from Pixel.